Welcome to another edition of the Roar of the Lions UK podcast, episode 391, a wild, wildcard weekend. My name's Matthew Turner, alongside Anthony Fitzpatrick. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm not doing too bad. Not doing too bad. Spent a ton of time at work recently, so not had much time to be at home and focus on a lot of things. But yeah, surviving just about. Feels odd that we're not talking about playoff football this weekend in regards to us. Like we're not used to this anymore. So like, yeah, the season's done. I'm still not. I'm still not. I still am not fully on board with that.
Playoffs? I can't do that imitation very well, but it did occur to
No.
me. Anyway, never mind. Yes, the Lions are not in the postseason, and didn't take away from the fact that it was one of the best wildcard weekends in recent memory, with all but one of the games being one-score games, and all of them having their own moments. We're going to talk about it, Ant, in just a minute, but just as an aside, what a crazy weekend of football.
It has. You kind of feel like the wild cards have been rubbish the last few years. I remember the year we beat the Rams and got our first playoff win in forever. Like every game up until then had been at utter shite, and we knew we were going to get the one game that was going to be close. But it was one of the worst weekends of football I'd ever seen. A few years later, it's kind of changed. All the underdogs really performed. Even the guys who like got, like the Panthers and the Jags, and people saying, "Oh, these teams shouldn't really be in here," but they all gave it a good go. It's all been very competitive. It's what you want to see. You want to see these highly competitive games early because it justifies having bigger playoffs. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and obviously one more to go, which is great. Going to take in the football while we can because there's not much left of it now.
No, almost all done. Just 3 weekends of football to go before a long off season. Obviously, we're already there for the off season, and that is going to kick into high gear today with our looking at award nominations for next week's annual Detroit Lions Award show, as we always do and have done since we started this podcast. And I've been going through my own nominations for this, and I'll tell you what, Ant, it's a lot harder in a shit season, or what feels like a shit season, to try and be positive about what's happened.
It does because you kind of want to. You don't want to be more critical, but you want to be kind of more realistic with what gone. We've missed the playoffs, so we can't say MVP of the team and have like 20 players be an MVP of the team because that means like how have you missed the playoff when you've got 20 guys up for MVP? Like it's just not possible. You've got to be highly critical, and we have to be highly critical. We have just missed the playoffs. So, something's obviously gone wrong. It's not been the best season, and this is what we used to do when we first started the pod. I remember when we did the award shows in like the first years, we struggled to come up with candidates at all for half of them, and it is
It feels
you've
like it
just got to
again.
roll with it. Yeah, it does. I kind of feel having flashbacks to when we did this really early because we've not been in this sitch for 3 years now, which is just odd. But yeah, you've just got to be honest. It has been a season of disappointment, as Brad said, and there are not going to be as many people up for gongs this year.
We are going to go through nominations, and we're going to need the help of the live chat. So I'm going to read out the list of the nominations in advance of that discussion. So we're going to go through the wildcard weekend first, but I'm going to talk about what all the categories are. And if the chat want to shout out who they think is deserving in any of the categories, I'll take that under advisement as I try and build the list. I've got the form in front of me to populate it as we go. We are going to talk wildcard weekend first, but before that we're going to get to news and the preamble that we normally do. Please do join our Discord channel. We are one of the best when it comes to off-season content, maybe in the world, since I can't say the nation because we're not in America. We're really good at this stuff. If you have a look at, I don't know, what many people may consider to be the offensive player of the year in the NFL, there were very few people on that train. And I know that was true because during the Rams game this wildcard weekend, I heard the phrase, well, Puka Nakua, he, was only a fifth-round pick. Not many people thought it would work out for him in the league. Well, I know one guy who thought it was going to work out for him in the league, and it's the guy I've got on this show with me. And there have been quite a few really high profile, lower draft picks that we on this show have championed and highlighted through the off-season content and draft shows that we've done who've gone on to be big, big things. We've also had our misses. We are not perfect. But anyone who's batting 1,000 at this is not really being honest now, are they? All that said, if you come and join the Discord channel, you can chat along with us. We can have a bit of back and forth. It would be great to have you there. Links in the live chat or in the description on the audio pod. College Football Podcast will be making a return at some point. We haven't had one for a little while. And not to do the show before the show, but quarterfinals and semi-finals of the playoffs have happened, and I think people could have expected Indiana to be there, but Miami have come from nowhere a bit. I mean, I think their run has been interesting because I think they've come up against teams that maybe haven't had the best offensive lines. And when it comes to the trenches, Miami are just so good on that D line that they've been kind of overwhelming teams. But we got a great finale set up, and to get there has been great. Some of the games have been fantastic.
They have the right one of the most deserving team is there, but the thing that happens, and what has been a figure of these last few years, especially with the expanded playoffs, teams who shouldn't have got into the playoffs are the ones who are doing really well. Like Ohio State last year, when they won the whole thing, they shouldn't have been in the playoffs. Really, the season they had and the losses they'd had. They only got in there because results on championship week, of which they had no part of, went in their favor. They shouldn't have made it. They made it, and they went all the way and won it. Miami didn't even win their conference this year. People saying they shouldn't have made it either, and there was a very good case for them not being able to make it this year. And then they get all the way to the Natty, and whether they win it or not. And I think what it shows is, these teams who do get in, who maybe are written off for that, they have nothing to lose. Miami had nothing to lose going into this playoffs. They played against Texas A&M, who did have a lot to lose, their pride, their history, everything, etc. Ohio State, who went in just destroying everybody this year. This when the pressure's off, it can free a team up. And I think for the second year in a row, we're seeing a team who not necessarily should have made it, who has. And I think that's just because there's no pressure on them. They've got a free shot at this thing. And hell, they're taking it. But the quality of the playoffs has been tremendous overall. And Christ. Indiana look completely unstoppable right now. This is a season for the eight. You will never see a season like this again. So enjoy it while you can. This turnaround's been crazy, but yeah, we will be back soon. For those who know, you know why it's not on at the minute. But we will be back. We'll be good going into draft season. Eventually, while I've got time, I am still doing plenty of work on it, so we will have plenty of content to put out as and when the time comes.
Please do like this episode, subs to the podcast. You guys know how much that means to us as the smaller content creators that we are. By doing that little thing, you are making a big, big difference to us in terms of who gets to see us and who it pushes us in front of. It's only little, but that's really all we care about. So if you can, many thanks in advance. So let's get to some news. And the only thing we really have to talk about right now is the potential for offensive coordinator for us and the potential for any of our coaches to be poached elsewhere. So let's go through that now. Of course, the Lions have an opening at offensive coordinator, and we have invited to interview Mike McDaniel, the former head coach of the Miami Dolphins. We have also invited David Blau, but Washington moved to hire him very quickly after that. They did not want to lose him, the former Lions backup quarterback. We've also invited to interview the pass game coordinator of the Seahawks, Jake Peets, and Ravens quarterback coach, T. Martin. Do any of those appeal to you? Do you think the list needs to be expanded out? Are you all in on Mike McDaniel? I mean, he's got 4 other head coaching interviews to go for, although he's favourite for none of those jobs, I'll point out.
I would throw the bag at Mike McDaniel. I would get on my knees, kiss his feet, and beg him to come to Detroit. I know I've given him a lot of tap as head coach of Miami, accusing them of not having a spine and not being etc. there, but at the end of the day, he is a unique, innovative, offensive mind, and that is shown that everybody is after him. And there are a lot of teams who are going to throw a lot of money his way to get him to come there. And, I've seen people say, ranking the job opportunities in front of him. Sometimes the best thing for a coach when they've been fired is to take a bit of time away from the head coach Control. Sometimes jumping back into another role, especially at a team looking for a head coach, because generally teams looking for head coaches 99% of the time are looking because they're shit and they need someone new. It's very rare you get a retirement or anything like that into a good job. And if you jump into another job and you have a year or two and it's bad and you get fired again, your star falls. If you move into a coordinator spot and you reassess your career and you start doing good work again without the burden of a head coaching role on you, that's how you get ready for round two. That's how you get ready for the next opportunity. And I mean, for me, I think he should be relishing the opportunity of coming to Detroit. He's taking the interview here. We're one of the best offenses in the NFL, period. We have been the last few years. There are not many opportunities that come up for you to take control of one of the best offenses in the NFL. Like the playmakers you have at your disposal. You've got a great veteran quarterback who can do whatever you want him to do. He's not like Tua, who makes a load of brain dead throws and stuff like that. Goff is. He looks after the ball well. He can command his offense well. You can do so much with him. And you've just got a plethora of playmakers. And hopefully by this time next year, you will have the offensive line mostly rebuilt to be able to do what you want to do with it. Guys like JMO, who is used to working with quick motion guys who can breakneck speed and stretch the field. Figure his offensive philosophy will mesh with ours. And as I've said, I want more outside voices in this building. I want him to bring his experience with him as well and to diversify what we do and to bring new ideas because that's why I was so against the Blau thing. Like, it's great. Yeah, I know Blau's been elsewhere in that, but people say Blau because he's been here before. He knows what we do. We've got a yes man who'll just come in and do as he's told and nothing will change. But, you always need to adapt in the NFL. We've seen without Ben. Ben's great thing was he evolved his offenses every year. You've got to keep evolving, keep throwing something new out there. We can't just come back next year and be what we were this year. So the league will adapt to it. Having Mike McDaniel here, he will adapt our offense and take it into the future. And he's got a massive point to prove. He'll want to get into head coaching again, and by having this Lions offense top of the league in points scored, etc., giving them success in the playoffs, that's his route back to a head coaching job at potentially a much better team when the time comes available, when teams are chasing after him and he's in demand again. So, for me, I know you need to have a wide net and you need to have a lot of possibilities, etc. But like he's the one. You don't get guys of his mind come up every now and then. It's very rare. Most offensive coordinators are out of jobs for a reason. He was a head coach. He's not out of a job because he's been a bad offensive coordinator or a bad offensive mind. Head coach 10 years over. When these guys become available, just throw a bag at them. Just throw a bag. Just say what you've got here. We are a very attractive proposition for him. Say, we want you. Let's get it done.
He's my number one, and it's not really close. I think the most interesting thing with him is that he's clearly come from a tree, and his teams have tried to resemble where he's been before. Much like any coach, you really follow what you know. And I think with him, while that's had offensive success, it's also been a little bit limiting for him. And I think sometimes you've seen him almost bang his head against the brick wall as he struggles to innovate beyond where he's been. In coming to us, he's going to be exposed to a completely different style. And what I hope is that he'll take the best part of himself and take the best part of what we do already and merge them. It wouldn't actually look dissimilar to exactly what the Rams are doing right now, which is actually running 13 personnel like it's 11 personnel, running all these funky things where you're able to run out of that formation, but you're also effectively able to run like you've got 3 wide receivers by just throwing the ball as a straight drop back from that formation. Like, running wide zone with Gibbs under 13 personnel would be super interesting. Obviously, we don't have a tight ends to kind of do that, but, next year's next year. Let's see who we end up getting. Stuff like that could really become a wrinkle of what we do. I've never really seen him run any sort of power scheme before. That is something that Dan Campbell very much wants to do and be a fundamental part of the offense. I think that McDaniels, as a offensive genius, would see the challenge in us, Not because the personnel make it difficult, but because he's going to have to find a way to make his game work with our personnel, and that Dan Campbell won't want to necessarily massively change. He'll just want to find the most effective way to play. And that will necessitate some change, but we're still probably not going to stray from what we consider to be our identity either.
No, I mean, it's not like, the Dolphins haven't been like a pass-heavy team. He doesn't run an air raid. Like, he likes to run the football. He likes his trench warfare. So, I think he will bring that element to it. But the thing we really missed last year, it felt like we didn't use motion as much as we did under Ben. The ability trying to lighten boxes against us by creating loads of mismatches, getting guys in motion, using it felt like we didn't do that as much this year. That's his speciality at Miami. Exploiting defenses by just creating mismatches everywhere. His use of motion, and he's got the playmakers here he's used to. Jameer Gibbs is a running back you can line up in the slot. JMO is a speed weapon. He's got, in Amon-Ra, he's got his Waddle, who's this intricate route runner, and all these bits. He's used to working with guys like this. And he's used to scheming them open, finding space. His offenses have usually always been pretty good for the most part. But like I said, combined with Dan's grit ethos here, which was sometimes lacking a bit in Miami, I think it's a nice mixture of flair and grit. And we need the flair grit measurement in there. We need a little bit of both. And I think we could stand to use a little bit more funkiness there, especially when it comes to trick plays and stuff. It felt our trick play bag was very empty this year, and he will add that spice that we need because John Morton, he was salt and vinegar. He's just plain old boring, what you have every day type of thing. This guy's going to be, Mike McDaniel's going to be like celery salt and stuff like that. Ooh, they got a kick of flavor to it and just elevates it to that next level. And
Exotic.
plus, I want to see the next evolution of the Mike McDaniel character. Like it's well known that when he went to Miami, he looked like a greeter at Walmart. Now he leaves there looking like a Miami Vice drug kingpin. Now I want to see what he evolves into when he's in Detroit. Like he's going to go through his cycle of changes, and in like 10, 15 years time I would love to see the evolution of him and characters he's evolved with in his life.
Any thoughts on Pete's or Martin?
I don't care about the rest of them. I honestly don't. I want an experienced hand at the helm this year before anyone says John Morton experienced. He was an experienced shite coordinator. He had no good track record as a coordinator whatsoever. His experience counts for jack. Mike McDaniel has good experience as an offensive coordinator. There is difference between good experience and bad experience. Experience is not always a good thing. And especially John Morton didn't have a good track record of it, and Anthony Lynn was on his way to retirement. Like he just didn't care.
Mm.
This is a good experience. So, I want an experienced hand at the helm who is gonna utilize all our weapons properly and will take play calling away from Dan. Because Dan needs to focus on his game calling, not his play calling. Dan's game calling is where he sets himself out from everybody else, and he has not been able to do that as efficiently this year. So I don't care about any of these other ones. I want us to throw the bag at Mike McDaniel, even if he gets head coach's offers. I want them to talk his ear off and basically do what they did with DJ Reader. When he comes for his interview, lock him in a room and say, "We're not opening it until you agree to sign with us." That's what I want them to do with him. Not advocating kidnap most of the time, but this time I am.
Fair. What about then the staff who potentially might be leaving with us? And I'll start with the one which is giving Ash kittens. The chief operating officer of the Detroit Lions, Mike Disner, has interviewed for the Atlanta GM and president of football role. Now, they've hired Matt Ryan as the president of football, but the general manager role remains available, and I believe that he is a leading candidate for that job. Otherwise, pass game coordinator David Shaw is interviewed to be Tampa Bay offensive coordinator, and assistant special teams coach Jet Modkins has interviewed to be the Tampa Bay special teams coordinator. And any thoughts on any of those three?
I don't care about Shaw or Modkins, whatever. And again, anyone who says they care about as COO, apart from Ash, because he does actually care about this sort of stuff. I think most people have been disingenuous. I couldn't care less about our front office. I have no overriding feelings towards them. If they go, whatever. Obviously, Disney's had a big impact here, but again, good organizations have the next guy ready to go. So you would like to feel there is someone in that office who is learning with him, who is his understudy, who will come to the fore if he goes. And I would say the appointment of Ryan at Atlanta is concerning if you are a Mike Disner fan and don't want him to leave, because he has final say on all football decisions at that program. If I'm a GM who is a footballing GM like Brad Holmes, he does the football stuff here, Disney does the financials, etc. I'm not going to a team where they've got a president above me who's going to sign off on all the football moves I want to make. I'm a general manager. I want to make the football moves. I don't want some lackey yes man. And that's what Matt Ryan is. He is a lackey yes man to the owner there because they've been there before. He's going to parrot whatever the owner wants. If I'm a football minded man, I'm not going anywhere near that GM job. If I am a financially minded man who is going to be brought in to do the business side of it, the financial side of it, who is a specialist on that and doesn't really have too much say on the football matters, it's a perfect job for me. Get into GM role, get experience there, get a big hike up into a top office job at some point in the future. So I think the position appeals to more business like guys than football related guys, and Disner is a business related guy. So I think that job will appeal a lot to him. Um, so I think there is a good chance we may lose him to that. Because again, if I'm a football-minded GM, I'm not going somewhere where there's a president who will sign off on my decisions. I need to be the decision signer.
I think that's a great summary. I am basically exactly there with you. Um, I have seen several people talk about the fact that they would actually quite like to see Jet Modkins get our special teams job and to fire Dave Phipp. I cannot get on board with that personally, only because people talk about the fact that defense is very much year to year. I have seen our special teams be way above where I think they should be on a year to year basis, and last year was a down year. I think that special teams varies massively because these guys, generally speaking, are poorly paid, bottom of the roster guys that you're asking to perform exceptionally well on a very limited amount of reps. The amount of variance is very, very high. Do you think they are well coached or not is a completely different thing from are they performing well? And I know that people are going to want to equate those two things, but for me, people are way too early on Dave Phipp potentially getting the boot here. Frankly, I want to see improvement. This year is going to be an interesting one for him. But he's been here, I think, probably 4 seasons. No, he's been here every year that Dan's been here, right?
Yeah,
So this is year
yeah, yeah,
five?
yeah,
4, 5?
yeah.
I would say the majority of our special teams under him have been pretty damn good. Our standard is so high for special teams. You know, we really care about it. So one down year doesn't make a bad coordinator him.
I mean, for someone who doesn't care at all about special teams, which is me, from my limited observations, they were rubbish the first half of this season. They were absolutely atrocious. And if they'd have continued as such for the entire season, I may have entertained this. For me, I thought special teams improved dramatically throughout the year. And towards the end of the season, I thought they were back to their usual best. Let's not forget, like, he was missing a lot of his top special teamers at the start of this year. Dorsey's hurt, Rodriguez hurt. You know, some of these guys who are the frontline guys who just give you that extra pizzazz on special teams whilst mixing in a bit of first team flair with it. Like, he was missing a lot of these guys, and he's had to wait as the season goes on to get these guys back. But as the team has returned to a decent state of health, um, they've gotten better. So I'm with you. I think for the most part, it's been great. We've very rarely complained about him, and not to coin Brad's phrase, but I think it's incredibly easy to get worse in special teams. So stick with the known commodity. If they struggle again next year, then have this conversation in 12 months' time.
Agree.
But I
Yeah.
don't think he's earned the tap this year. Again, I thought they were much better for the last couple of months of the year. So that shows improvement, adaptation, which is what you want from your coaches, right? So Yeah, I'm not really that fussed about it.
Well, I mean, that's the thing that would actually lead me to say that I think it's an above average year for him as a coach. Like you say, like I said before, the players that you get given change most years on special teams, and especially with the number of injuries we had on defense, and defense provides more players to special teams than any other. Evolving door of these guys, and like week one has no bearing on what you did in week 18 the previous year. It's a totally different team. So the fact that he actually got these guys in, and then with all the people coming in and out, all the injuries we had, all the people changing here, to get what he got out of them down the stretch, I thought was actually super impressive. And you have a look at someone like Sione Vaki, who obviously has had his real injury issues. When he comes straight back into the team down the stretch, looks like one of the best guys on special teams comfortably. Like, I thought Vaki was an absolute beast. And it's only 3 or 4 games, and it's only special teams, and it's only making a tackle here or there. But those were the tackles which were not being made in weeks 1 through 6, which led to massive returns. So it
Yeah.
does make a difference because the lack of it matters. When it happens, it's just standard and we don't care. But when it doesn't happen, you got people climbing the walls for it.
I think, yeah, there's only one coach who should be fearing for his job right now, and that's Casey Rogers. Like he's the one I'm making the case to get rid. I don't think there's anyone else on the coaching staff I'm that fussed about, but the D line's been poor, and he needs to go.
I think that linebacker is going to be an interesting one because Jack has obviously had an incredible year, but I think Anzalone took a step back, and I think Barnes has been terrible. And I think the rest of that room, Cunningham had some good and bad games. I didn't think it was terrific. Grant Stewart, I thought, was pretty average.
Shit.
So, like, as a room, I don't think they did great. But did what Jack was Jack's output offsetting that enough? I think the linebacker. I don't think he's going to be fearing for his job.
Wait,
But I
is he
think
the
it was
linebackers coach as well?
who?
Casey Rogers, the linebackers coach
No,
as
no, no.
well?
You
I'm
were
about
talking about are there any other coaches that
Oh,
could be fearing?
right.
I was saying the linebackers coach maybe not fearing for his job, but maybe on the hot seat for the next 12 months.
Maybe.
Um,
Maybe. All I would say is Grant Stewart has been a complete and utter disappointment from what we were promised. This is
you
why you
mean
don't
this
believe
this
off-season
elite
hype.
kick returner we had?
Yeah, well, when people came, it's like he's like we all knew he was a glorified special teamer. But then he came in and people were like, "Oh no, he could be this proper first team player. He's going to be pushing for starts and stuff like that." And he's just done absolutely nothing outside of special teams, which has been worth a damn. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there, but in terms of what we were promised, yeah, he did his special team stuff and that was it. We got nothing more than that.
All right. I am going to list out all of the awards that we are going to have, and I'm going to put them separated by commas into the live chat. Now, if anyone wants to weigh in on any of them, I would appreciate you stating the award and the player. And if you want to, a reason would also be great. We can then consider them as we get to that segment of the show. So that is who we are looking at having at the moment. And I will also post that in Discord. All right. So for the benefit of the people on the audio podcast, the award nomination categories are Fans Moment and Fans Player of the Year, Game of the Year, Player of the Year, Walter Payton Style Man of the Year, Coach of the Year, Signing of the Year, Most Improved Player, Unsung Hero, Rookie, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, and MVP. If anyone would like to propose an extra award, or if anyone thinks that one of the awards is not worth having, then I'm open to all suggestions. I would love to hear your thoughts. So please and thank you in advance. We are going to talk about the wildcard playoffs first, just to give you guys some time to think about and digest all of that. And we're going to go in chronological order, starting with an absolutely heartbreaking game. The Rams 31 over the the Rams 34 over the Panthers 31. This game was back and forth all the way down the stretch. I think that this was maybe the best game of the playoffs so far. It was a pretty slow first quarter where the Rams got out to a lead early. you feared for what was going to happen here. Bryce throws an interception, Rams score a touchdown, it's 14-0. But from that point on, the tide slowly started to turn. Bryce got a touchdown, he kind of settled into things. Rams got a field goal in, but suddenly the Rams had a punt. They turned it over on downs. They punted again. It was 17-14 at the half. People were thinking, what, the Rams have dominated this game. How on earth is this a 3-point game? Rams punt to start the second half. Field goal ties it up. Rams get a field goal to go ahead, but then throw an interception to end the third quarter. Then the Carolina Panthers take the lead in the fourth quarter, and the lead changes a couple more times before the victory goes to the Rams. It was a 3-point game, and Bryce Young had the ball in hand with 32 seconds to go. So there remained a really good chance that the Panthers could kick to tie to take it to overtime, or even in a crazy play, maybe even take the win. Stafford did not have his best game. He did kind of injure his throwing hand after hitting a helmet, I think, in his throwing motion. But other than that, other than the first drive and a half, maybe two for the Panthers, Bryce looked fantastic. I'm sure you really enjoyed this game after the first quarter as a closeted Panthers fan.
Yeah, and this is a big middle finger to everyone saying, well, Carolina shouldn't be in the playoffs. Of course they should be. I mean, they've not been in the playoffs very much in recent years, and these ascending young teams will benefit from the experience. Hell, we did when we finally got in. We got a few wins under our belt. It helps you take the next step forward. And you can see this Panthers team, it's still got its problems, of course. Like the NFC South has been a dumpster fire this week. They have won the best of a bad conference, but from where they were picking at the top of the draft every year, they've come incredibly far. They've learned how to win games now, and more importantly, they've learned resilience and, they've learned to deal with the disrespect in this. And I thought the Rams were very disrespectful to the Panthers. At 17-7 up, a 4th and 4, perfectly kickable field goal just before halftime, go 13 points up, make them run the entirety of the field, and because they've not really got much on you so far, to go for that was disrespectful. And basically the Rams saying, we just don't think you're with us and you're not going to give us much of a game here. We can just afford to try and do this because even if you turn us over, nothing by the by. The Panthers took that personally. They get that turnover on downs, which gives them a shot of life. They get a touchdown before the half. And you can see the belief start to come into this young team that's just not used to being in these sort of games. And in the second half, they gave everything, hell for leather. These two teams traded so many punches with one another. Bryce, I thought, was exceptional. Absolutely exceptional. Why? He didn't have much of a run game to work with, and he was getting pressured on pretty much every single drop back that he had. He was making a lot of sensible decisions, a lot of good throws. He put the team on his back and did everything within his power to get them to a win. Unfortunately, they just happened to come up against the MVP. And I think Stafford should be MVP. Now, I said when that last drive started, this is the drive where MVPs show their true colour. These are the games you've got to go out and win in playoffs when you just eviscerated them and tore them to shreds. But it was fantastic, and it was great to see the Panthers hold their own. I don't know why. You just have these weird things where in this case, it's been Bryce. I thought Bryce was so unfairly critiqued in his first year or so in the league. And I've rooted for him, and now I'm rooting for that team in general now. The Panthers could be incredibly proud of themselves. They've taken one of the best teams in the NFC right to the death. They threw as good as they got. They're set for years to come now. If they keep building the way they have been, they're going to be absolutely fine. And they're going to be a very dangerous team as soon as next year. If they get this year right, they should rule that NFC South for a few years now. The Bucks are getting old. The Saints are useless. The Falcons are useless. It's their playground to be had. But yeah, fantastic. And Puka's just stupidly good as well. So, I always love seeing him do well because I say it just reinforces those views we had years ago. So, yeah, top game from both sides.
You couldn't have been stronger on your take for him. The only time I think I've seen anyone be stronger on a take is mine on Lab McConkey. He did not come up trumps in the Chargers game against the Patriots, but that's the last game we're going to get to. I'm not going to get ahead of ourselves. We have the chat here suggesting a load of potential awards. I am trying to keep it on the shorter side just because we committed to keeping the show a bit shorter and a bit more accessible. And I think we've done that, and I think we've achieved our aim this year of it not going to 2.5, 3.5 hours like we used to do. We tend to do 1 to 2 hours now as kind of standard. But if there are any good suggestions, I really do want to take them. And we did have a suggestion by Mile Marker saying the Grit Award, and it's something that has been suggested before, but given what is preached in this team, I do think a Grit Award would be potentially good. So I don't know what you think on that, Ant. But Marmarka says, kept playing hard and all in no matter what, including mistakes, injuries, etc. Sort of an Iron Man.
I already know who I give that award to, so yeah, we can do that.
Cool.
I've got my winner already. I don't even need to think about that.
I
So,
love that. Well, we'll be taking suggestions for the nominees for all of that later. But yeah, we're gonna pop that in. Grandizer suggests celebration of the year just now. We did have that last year. The problem is we don't have a lot to celebrate.
no, we don't.
And we didn't have a lot of trick plays. I know that we had, JMO using the posts to celebrate in one of the later games, but there wasn't a huge amount that occurs to me and in that category, frankly.
No, I would have to think a lot about that, and I don't know how much I'd come up with, so potentially not that. Another I would slip in there, giggity.
Oh dear.
I know. A category for biggest Navy midshipman fan of the year, and it's me and Brent nominated for it. That would be one of the tightest fights you've ever seen in your life. I don't know who'd win that. We're both massive Navy fans, so
The Able Seaman Navy Midshipman of the Year award.
there we go. That's absolutely that. Go Navy.
All right, let's get on to the next game, which was probably the funniest game of this playoffs so far. Green Bay 27, Bears 31. This game was hilarious for a number of reasons, not just because Jordan Love went 24-46 for 323, 4 touchdowns, no picks, and lost to Caleb Williams, who went 24-48, 361, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Square that circle. It's not like even Chicago particularly ran Green Bay into the ground. Green Bay outgained Chicago on the ground. And Green Bay absolutely hammered the Bears in the first half. There were only 2 drives in the first half, with the Packers taking a 7-3 lead into it. They were 21-3 up at the half, having missed an easy field goal at the end to go 24-3 in front. It was 21-6 at the end of the third quarter, and the Bears just go on this mazy run where even with about 5 minutes to go, they're 2 scores down. But a touchdown, a missed field goal, and a touchdown to end the game, including the Packers stalling out on an 11-play, 44-yard drive, but not able to finish it off. I mean, this, as an NFC North, or fans of an NFC North team, having to pick one of these teams to win was difficult, if not impossible. Cheering for one of them, absolutely insane. I know that some people hate one more than the other, potentially, but all we could really hope for is humiliation for one of them, and frankly, we fucking got it.
I'm not a hateful man.
That's a lie. Bluff.
That's a lie. I've got my fingers crossed. I'm not a hateful man, but I could not have had more hate in my heart in this game, period. My hatred for the Bears is legendary. I cannot stand them, even to the point where I was cheering for the Packers to win this game. I was very much there for it. I can't put it into words how much I hate Bears and their insufferable fans. They're some of the worst in existence. But then to see Green Bay blow that game the way they did meant that my hatred for them grew as well, and I've got this inner battle of hatred inside there. Hatred for the Bears for being the Bears, and the hatred for the Packers for throwing that game away. And I may have, for the first time in my life, experienced what pure hatred is, because I had that much in me and I didn't like it. I stayed up and watched this entire thing. It was 4:30 in the morning. I stayed up waiting to feast on Bears tears only for that to happen and me to then be like, oh, well, I'm in such a hateful mood now. And if the Bears had have lost, I wouldn't have been, but I could not have hated this game more. and I now hate the Packers immensely more than I did before. And I still hate the Bears. So yeah, this was my hate watch, and it was
Mm.
horrible. It was a great game, but I hated watching every second of it.
The thing I absolutely loved about this game is just basically all the really, really snowflakey alpha males who don't like Caleb Williams because he paints his fucking nails, having to deal with the fact that their team lost to that guy. Like, every bit of shit you threw at him, and Caleb didn't have a great game, you still lost to him, and the meltdown was absolutely hilarious. Like, get a fucking grip of yourselves, you useless wankers.
And you know what? I just hate watching Ben's post-game post-game speeches and stuff like that. What has become very apparent about Ben is he's an arrogant blowhard, and he fits Chicago to a T. Like Dan's grit mentality fits Detroit to a T. Ben's arrogant blowhard mentality fits Chicago to a T. Like, you've beaten a fourth place schedule and the Packers, who just can't get out of their own way, and there's this undeserved sense of entitlement that they're now rolling with. And I find myself having to resurrect the Detroit Rams to try and stop this. And I don't want Sean McVay to. That's going to be just as big a hate watch as this one was, to the point where I might not actually watch it because it might give me a coronary. But I just can't stand Chicago. I just need them to lose in the most. I don't care if it's a doink. Give me a doink, and I'll take another doink. I want to see them suffer. And
Unfortunately,
even at the expense of it being McVay, who I can't stand either. Again, I'm not a hateful man, but you know,
all I see in their future is the Rams absolutely wiping the floor with them. I don't think that game's going to be close.
I
It could
am
be 3 or 4 scores.
I am channeling my inner every single little bit of love I had for Puka in the pre-draft process. I am willing that back into me right now. Like, Puka, please, for the love of God, if you have one more 150-yard game in your entire career from now to the end of it, let it be this one. Please, let
Yeah.
it be this one. Absolutely eviscerate those entitled so-and-sos, please. I'm begging you. Somebody, the Rams, please do it for me. I will accept you going to the Super Bowl again if you can beat the Bears.
All right, the next game up is another barnstormer, only a 3-point game as the Buffalo Bills beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 27 to 24. And I tell you what, this game broke my heart. I'm not a big Jags fan, but when it comes to the AFC, they're one of my teams. I kind of hate it because obviously they've played in London all this time, and I don't want to be the one who's labelled it just because they're here all the time, because it genuinely isn't. It's because I have a weakness for the genuinely shit teams in the league. That's why I'm a Lions fan. In part. And Jacksonville and Cleveland and the Raiders, all of these teams that for the last 25, 30 years have really not been great. I just want to see them do well. And the Jags went into this having won 8 straight. The line moved. We've seen the Bills being favoured, the Jags being favoured. It finally ended with the Jags being a 1.5 favoured. And the Jags did what they needed to do in this game on defense. They completely shut down James Cook, who had nothing. Josh Allen had something, but I mean, how he's still walking, I don't know, because he was hammered several times in this game. But unfortunately for Jacksonville, in the biggest possible moment, Trevor had 2 interceptions, one of which started the game off with a brain-dead throw. I don't know what he was seeing. The second one was an unfortunate one, but he wasn't the Trevor that we've seen the last 7 or 8 weeks. And you know what? Parker Washington can be the superhero that he is, but if Trevor's not going to be Trevor, it was always going to be a hard game. And Buffalo, massively flawed team who do not deserve to be in the playoffs, frankly, even as a 12-win team. They're hugely flawed. But Josh Allen will find and expose your team if you give him half a chance, and they gave him just enough to win this game.
The Broncos are going to bounce the Bills.
Oh, massively.
They're going to absolutely bounce them. Like you said, this Bills team's flawed. It's not good anymore. McDermott needs firing. They're going backwards. But in this game, again, this was another example. I know Jacksonville were the 13-win team and the higher seed here, but this was another case of people kind of just saying, oh, well, Buffalo's going to beat Jacksonville. Jacksonville's not going to be a part of this, they can't hang with them. And they did hang with them. Like I say they went down early again, made some mistakes. Again, this is a team, they've not been to the playoffs in what, 8 years? I think they said this was the first time in the playoffs in 8 years, Jacksonville.
Yeah, since the
So
Bortles years.
no. Oh my God.
Yeah,
That's
since
going back.
Saxonville was a
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, since Saxonville. This is their first time in the playoffs in eight
Balls!
years. So no player on that team, I'm willing to bet anyhow. There's no player on that team who's been to the playoffs with the Jaguars. I would think they've not got anyone long tenured enough to do that, but a new environment for them, making mistakes. They're not used to being in these high pressure games. They're playing against a guy who can be an MVP on his day and a Bills team that's perennially hanging around the Chiefs' backside. And they acquitted themselves really well. Even when they had takeaways, the defense tried its best. They're just missing a pass rush, really, a legitimate pass rush and a few other bits. They get that in Jacksonville. They're going to be a very dangerous team.
Oh,
And,
I think
you
that's really
know,
unfair. I thought that was one of their strengths. Josh Hines-Allen, Trayvon Walker,
it's
Eric
I
Armstead.
think you need a star. I think you lack a bona fide star there. Like the tackle's good. They stopped James Cook running. Like it's tough. I just think they lack a bona fide star
Oh, I
out
think
there.
Josh
Like
Hines-Allen's way up there, man.
he's all right.
Between
I just
Hines-Allen and Walker, those are two guys who are better than most edge twos. I would say that Trayvon Walker is a
I think
mid-edge one, but he's
if
maybe
you
not
have
like
a
a
game
superstar.
changer, if you have a game changer on that defense, I think you win this. You just that little bit more. But anywho. They're in a really good place. No one expected them to win 13 games this year. Everyone was making fun of Liam Cohen when he was, you know, hired there. Like people going, "What are they doing?" People making fun of the baby face and stuff like that. And like no one's really paid them that much attention this year. Even though they've been winning, it's kind of like that's what the Jags have become. They've just become an afterthought to everybody, and now they're just not going to do it, really, are they? And they gave one of the best teams in the AFC, albeit on a bit of a down year, a really tough time, and they could have won on another day. Like say, just cut a few of those little mistakes out. But again, this is Trevor's first playoff. It's his first playoff game, right? So he's not been in this situation before, and it's just playing another team on another day, but the playoffs does elicit some pressure on you that you're not used to having. So, I thought they again acquitted themselves really well. And like the Panthers, providing they have a good off-season and they're sensible and they build upon it, they'll remember these performances and next year they'll build on it and you'll maybe see them win a playoff game and take that little step closer to getting to the Super Bowl again. And I kind of hope they do. And I'm just going to put my saying on this very because it got mentioned a lot. But that reporter afterwards, who did the whole thing, and like I loved her and what she did in that presser afterwards. Like, just too many. There's too many brain dead reporters out there who just say stupid things after playoff games. You never see a reporter actually say "well done" to a guy. Like he's not like Jacksonville's not been to the playoffs in 8 years. They've had no success whatsoever. They've been picking number one more often than anything else. And in 1 year, he has rebought belief in that team. People starting to believe in them again. They're heading in the right direction. And for her to just simply say, "Thank you, you're doing a good job. Keep your chin up." I just thought it was adorable. And all these sour-faced reporters who are going, "Well, you should be asking questions when you're in there." Oh, what? You want to ask him the same 7 questions about why he didn't use his timeouts properly or something like that? Just the same boring, robotic, prototypical stuff that reporters do. Just another example of how entitled all these guys are and just think, well, you've got to do it like this. It's nice to see some humility in the press community, and it's just nice to someone say thank you, even if you've not won a Super Bowl. These things matter. I'm kind of low-key rooting for them now, and I hope they continue to be good, because NFL's better when these teams who've sucked all these times suddenly get good. You make a nice story out of it. It makes everything more competitive. That division's a lot more fun now Jacksonville are there, because the Texans will be back. You would assume the Colts will be back next year. Like, it could be one of the better conferences in football next year, that could.
Yeah,
Divisions.
yeah, definitely could. Next up is the win by the 49ers away, 23-19 against the Philadelphia Eagles. The meltdown in Philly is something to behold. Jalen Hurts threw the ball 35 times. He is now 1-6 this season when he's thrown the ball more than 34 times. He only had one completion of 15 yards or more. He had 20 completions for 168 yards in this game. That's not winning football. And you know what? Brock Purdy wasn't amazing, threw some poor picks. Juwan Jennings threw for a touchdown, which was fun. San Francisco couldn't rush the ball to save their lives, and Saquon Barkley did get his yards. And this was a really close game. For me, what was remarkable about this was the emergence once again of Demarcus Robinson, who reminded me that he still exists. I remember him very well, obviously, doing bits with the Chiefs in their Super Bowl runs. He was remarkable. He had 111 yards in this game, I think. And Philly were ahead in this game for the majority of it. But San Francisco hung around long enough. And it, for me, looked like they were making more inroads and having better offense, but then just Purdy kind of let them down in some moments. But then he was also the reason they were able to extend plays and actually win the game in the end. So it was a tough outing, especially in the conditions. Both quarterbacks were kind of struggling to pass the ball. In the end, I think the better quarterback won.
Just thought it was two mid teams who are not going to threaten the Super Bowl, whoever was going to win this. The 49ers look poor. They're really poor. They're just not the team they usually are, and they only
Defense is pretty
won.
poor.
They only won because the Eagles were even poorer. And there was that great stat that Juwan Jennings threw more 15-yard passes than Jalen Hurts did in this
Yeah.
game because obviously they did the trick play to McCaffrey again. But yeah, Jennings had more deep completions than Hurts did. That kind of says everything. The Eagles have just been a poor team this year. I think the defense is amazing. They've just offensively they've struggled with their identity, which is crazy given the players they've got on that team. But apparently, AJ Brown's on his way out the door now.
They
You're
can't
gonna
afford to get rid of
see
him. They can't.
you're gonna see some changes there, but that offense is nowhere near good enough compared to what they've got on it. Um, but you figure they will be back next year if they rejig everything right. But they were just two poor teams. And I actually think, it was a close game, but I thought it was a lacking in quality game for the most part. Obviously, defensively, some were good. Quinyon Mitchell's amazing. Like, it just makes you like, oh, could we have got him here with corners and that? But like, he's absolutely nailed his draft pick. Like, people going, the small school guy, can he go that high? Yeah, yeah, he can. He's one of the best corners in the NFL now. What did he have? Two picks? I think he got both picks of Purdy. But yeah, he looked amazing. But yeah, overall, I thought it was the one of the poorest. It probably was the poorest game for me, even though it was a close one.
Yeah, Quinion had both picks, but he was picked on in the first drive and gave up the touchdown. So I guess up and down, David. You take two
Shit happens
picks.
in the
Yeah.
playoffs. Like
Yeah.
again, playoff football is you're coming up against good teams in the playoffs. You are going to get got sometimes in the playoffs. That's just how it happens. As long as you make the plays when it matters, that's all that matters.
Yeah. Fair. All right. Final game of this stretch is a 16-3 win by the Patriots over the Chargers. And this game wasn't close. I mean, as much as Kamani Vidal tried on the ground, the two leading rushers in this team are both quarterbacks, in Herbert getting 57, May getting 66, but I thought that Ramondre Stevenson really had a kind of breakout game at 10 carries for 53 yards. When you're going up against the Chargers and you can get 5.3 yards a carry as a running back, that's fantastic. And actually, gave a reason to have Travion Henderson as a change of pace back, which he's been for the majority of the year, even though I can't quite understand it because he's been fantastic when he's played. Stevenson led the team in receiving as well, 75 yards on 3 catches, including a 48-yarder. There were some chunk plays for May. It was a hard game because I think it was 6-3 or 3-3 at halftime. It wasn't pretty, but the Patriots dominated in both sides of the trenches, and that really made a difference in this game. The Chargers obviously missing both their tackles really, really hurt, but Patriots had 6 sacks in this game. There was a stat actually I saw online which was they held the team to so many yards and they got 6+ sacks and they got this many this and this many that. And the only team that's done that in the playoffs is the 1985 Bears. And I'm like, shit, that's probably good. I don't care what team you're against in the playoffs. You rack up those stats, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, even you knew the first thing that Vrabel was going to do when he got to New England is re-establish that defensive identity which they'd lost. Like they're known for it. I'm shocked how quickly he's turned that round. Like this is his first year, people are not forgetting, but he put a lot of investment into that line. It's the first thing he went for. And who were two of his biggest prospects in this one? Milton Williams and Caleb von Chason. Like two of his big free agent signings in there. I think the two of them combined for like 5 sacks.
Four. They got two
And
each. Yeah.
oh, you got four. But my point is, you've strengthened the backbone of that Patriots defense, the defensive tackles, your linebackers, and they couldn't run a damn thing on them. I mean, it didn't help that Amarian Hampton obviously came into this game with an injury designation. He didn't play. Like, he was unhealthy. Like, you're missing your running back one. Vidal's great, but Vidal's undersized, and, you need to give him a little bit of something. The injuries on the offensive line have not helped for the Chargers. They were always going to be outmatched in this, but the Patriots defense is scary. Like they're all just playing so well right now. Marcus Jones is one of the biggest success stories ever. I remember when he came out of college from Houston, like he was known for his special teams ability. He had something stupid like 6 kick return touchdowns or something like that. And he came in as what they thought was just going to be a specialist special teamer, and that was his going to be his ceiling in life. But he's a bona fide starter for them now. Like, you think he got a pick in this one? Like, he's been such an impressive player considering what they brought him in to be. It's just Vrabel finding the best of the talent of the players he's got available, and that is the Patriots defense that we know. Now they'll have harder challenges. They'll come up against more complete offenses, but. They shut down one of the better quarterbacks in this league and they just absolutely nullified anything they could. So you would fancy the Patriots against anybody on the skill of that defense alone. Their quarterback is good, their running back room is good enough. Like they have what they need to go all the way, and you wouldn't bet against them. I don't know who they play. Who are they playing next?
Oh, put me on the spot. They're going to play the winner of the game coming up, Houston and
Oh, is it this?
yeah.
I would expect well, the Texans and the Steelers. God, I'd expect the Patriots to launch both of those. I don't think either of those teams have what is needed. Maybe the Texans with their defense. That could be like a 6-3 game, but I'd fancy them against both of those.
The only other thing I want to point out about this game, the only other two things I want to point out about this game is one, I was reminded that Deshaun Ham was still in the lead when he recovered a fumble. And the other thing here was that LA are playing another one of your draft crushes, Ant, and he got an interception in Diane Henley.
Don't. I just. He should be a Lion. He didn't fit the mold here. Diane Henley is one of the best coverage linebackers in the NFL. I said that whilst I was championing him for the draft. You want a coverage linebacker, you draft Diane Henley. And the Chargers did, and the Chargers are just, they're using him to such good effect. He is such a good player. Like, the Lions could kill for someone him right now. Like, if you had him on this team now, you wouldn't worry about letting Anzalone go because there's your next guy. But yeah, I love to see these guys do well. And even if it's not for us, I just want to see good players play good football. And Dion Henley is a wonderful football player. He will be for the Chargers for many years.
All right, that's all of the games which have happened. We've got Steelers Texans tonight in Pittsburgh. Any leaning on how you think that game's going to go?
Well, if history says anything, the Steelers are going to botch it.
Well,
10
apart from the
years.
fact that they've never lost on Monday Night Football, and the Texans have never won away in the playoffs in this situation.
All the historical stuff says that the Steelers are going to win, but Tomlin needs a win. You can't go 10 years without a playoff win. I think this is the straw that breaks the camel's back. The win over Baltimore was just a one-game reprieve. I think he's on just as much a hot seat now as he was then. Last time Pittsburgh got to the playoffs, what was it? Bounced by the Chiefs, I think it was. Like they just every time they've made it to, even when they got the Browns at home, they got bounced by them. They've just not been a competitive force, and it doesn't matter how many winning seasons you have in that. If you're not competitive in the playoffs, there's just no point having him there. This is make or break for him. This is going to be his last chance to get a playoff win there. And you look at what like Aaron Rodgers' old ass, and you've got Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson hunting him down. Do you really think that Steelers' offensive line is going to hold up against what the Texans has offered? The Texans have a better defense than the Steelers, and that's generally what the Steelers pride themselves on. I think the Texans defense is going to eat him alive, and that's going to be the end for Mike Tomlin. And then we're going to see just how demanding he is from other teams in the league. Because again, I don't get his appeal. 10 years without a playoff win. That's like you can win as many games as you want. If you can't win a playoff game in 10 years, you've got limitations as a head coach.
Yep.
Sorry, but you do.
All right, let's move on to the Lions Awards 2026. We're going to start with the nominations for Fans Moment of the Year. So, in the live chat right now, I want to hear what you guys have as your moment of the year. I have canvassed for a couple of suggestions in advance so that I can talk about that whilst you guys get that in. The suggestions that we have one serious and one unserious. The unserious one comes from Poole Walker in our Discord, and it says, "When the season ended," which fair. um, the serious suggestion comes from our own Ashley Soden, which suggests Kirby Joseph's stumblebum interception celebration versus the Chicago Bears. And I don't know if you've got any particular moments of this season that particularly resonate with you, that make you feel happy when you think about it, or that gave you a chuckle, or I don't know. It doesn't have to be a good moment. It could be a defining moment this season where you kind of thought that everything died. I don't know. What do you think?
Our complete evisceration of the Bears in week 2. That made me very happy. That was a moment of the season for me. Everyone's saying, "Oh, it's a young apprentice against the old master," and the old master absolutely kicked his ass. I know they're in the playoffs and they're winning playoff games, but still, that is a favorable moment that I remember. Because everyone just thought Ben was going to come and beat us because he was our entire team, and he wasn't.
I'm looking through some of the games that we have here just to try and remember some of the season, because some of it I struggle with thinking back to some of what happened here. I'm looking at, in particular, us kind of almost shutting down the Buccaneers as something which was quite good. We've got Game of the Year and our own awards that we're going to get to, but really shutting down a team that they were a little bit injured coming into that. Beating the Ravens in the way that we did in week 3 really comes to mind. I mean, not because it was particularly great. Beating the Giants, who, they're only a 2-win team when we played them, but we were so far behind in that game. We had absolutely no right to be in it. To manage to actually come back with, half a minute to go and end up getting the win with the first play in overtime, that was pretty exciting. In a season where there hasn't been a huge amount of excitement, that's going to be up there for me.
That was more biggest near disappointment of the year. I feel like we should have a disappointment of the year category because it has been that bad. But eh, don't. I'm struggling. Beating the Cowboys, that's always a fun one. Because those arrogant mofos thought they were going to roll over us when they were on that little run. Ending the Cowboys season I think we can put that as that was very satisfactory. I enjoyed that one a lot.
I have put that down on there too. Um, while we get to other suggestions, Pinky or Bobber says, sorry if you guys already talked about it a bit. Do you think losing Ben or Ragnar was bigger? I think it's really hard to decide between the two which affected us the most. To be honest, probably the person calling the plays, but Ragnar was massive. I mean, that interior offensive line was shocking in some part.
Ragnar. And I'm
Yeah?
not saying that because I'm bitter towards Ben, but like the offense still scored a lot of points this year. It was still one of like points per game and stuff, one of the best offense. We scored enough points to be able to win plenty of games, but what we didn't have was the run game as much. And it was just the timing and everything's been thrown off. We weren't a complete offense at all this year. I just feel like the center's such a huge part of that, and the suboptimal play of his replacements has been very noticeable because we've been bedding in two new guards this year. It's the worst. If you're bedding in two new guards, you want to have a experienced all-pro center in between them, you know, leading the way and giving them advice and stuff like that. And I just think overall we missed that. We still scored a lot of points without Ben. I say I'm not bitter towards Ben, but for me it's definitely Ragnar who we miss more. Just because of again what I've seen on the field and the results and everything.
We had a suggestion for moment of the year, which was just the game where we scored on every single drive. And I'm struggling for which one that was.
It was
Was
the
it
Ravens, wasn't it?
No, I don't. What was it?
I thought we scored every drive against the Ravens. I could be wrong.
No, we didn't. Touchdown, punt, miss field goal, touchdown, touchdown, punt, field goal, touchdown in that game.
Yeah, we got a lot of drives in
Commanders.
that one.
Commanders. Touchdown, 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 field goal, touchdown, field goal, touchdown, field goal, end of game. There we go.
Oh, there we
Lions
go.
Commanders.
Yeah, we can get that in there.
That was a fun game. Um,
Mm,
Grandizer says, wouldn't Ragnar fit in the biggest player loss of the year? Yes, but I'm not. I don't want to present award for biggest loss just because it's too
yeah.
negative. It's way too negative when this is meant to be a
Very
uplifting.
specific.
Yeah. And then he
Very
says
specific.
surprise
Oh no, we could
offensive,
do
surprise
negative
defense.
one.
I don't like doing negative ones. Not for me, anyway.
I do. I'm
Yes,
not a
but
hateful man.
quote of the year: I'm not a hateful man. Anthony Fitzpatrick.
Put it on a
Okay.
t-shirt.
Okay, so our next award is going to be the Fans Player of the Year award. Now, this does not have to be best player, it does not have to be grittiest or cult, it doesn't have to be any particular bucket. The player doesn't have to be good. It could be Sione Vaki because you like special teams. It could be Al Qadim Mohammed because he came from nowhere and had more than 10 sacks and you're appreciative of that. It could be David Montgomery because you feel sorry for the bloke getting so little fucking reps. I don't care what your criteria is. I want to know who your player of the year is. And unfortunately, Anthony Fitzpatrick is too late on the nomination because Ashley Soden has already got Hogan Hassan nominated for this one. He is in already in the vote. And who would you have as your player of the year in terms of just, I guess
This
it's
is the
maybe...
fans one. I'm not allowed to comment on this. This is the fans one.
Yeah, but we can speculate as to who suggestions might be for nominations here. I mean, it has to just be maybe sort of favourite player of the year, I guess I would say.
I feel like JC is going to get a lot of love in this one. If it's just me saying that, I think that he would be a storm away winner of this one. I think the fans have really grown to love him. Again, shock horror, year 3 of a linebacker. He's finally learnt what he's doing in the NFL and looks really good. Takes time, man. He's right on track. But for me, I would think he'd be a hands down favourite.
So we just got Mile Marker suggesting Penny Sewell, and I absolutely see it. I mean, dude's been an absolute beast, especially through injury. Super
Yeah.
impressive, super likable guy as well. when I'm thinking about the Lions in terms of what I absolutely love about them, I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla gets on this list just because the circus catches and the low number of reps for the high number of touchdowns just has me in my feels. I wouldn't be surprised
I'll
if Ratledge made an appearance on this list, maybe, but I'm only speculating, and I want you guys to try and get some suggestions out there before we open up the voting.
probably put this on X as well and get some
Oh yeah,
votes
well,
before we do.
I need your help posting that because you know I'm shit at posting these out and I do too many at
Yeah,
once. So you
yeah.
you need to be the
We'll do
leading
that.
person for this.
We'll
But we need
do
to
that.
get all of the names out there for suggestions for nominations so we can actually get the votes out in time.
Hmm. Yeah.
And we need
Well,
to.
we need to get the fans ones out there, see what people say for that. We'll get more of a bigger sample size as well.
Hmm. Who else have we got on here? Yeah, I mentioned Al Qadin. I think he really should rank fairly highly. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson may rank highly up here. I don't know. He
For what?
for fans player of the year. I mean, for my standards, I think he had a down year for him, and yet he was dominant in the first half of the year, and then he had a strong end, but that kind of weak
It's
late middle
he's
area.
he's played 92% of reps coming back from a broken leg. Like, of course he was gonna tire out. Like, I would not hold that against him. Like, we play him way too much. His snap count needs to drop by at least 20% next year, if we want to get the best out of him. So hence why we need a better edge rusher. Um, but I'm not surprised he eventually just blew out of steam because he just never got a rest. And I know he's the kind of player who wants to play every play, but you've got to maximize your talent and you've got to give him some time off and let him be more effective in games. So I could see him potentially been up there, but again, I think there are more deserving people this year, even though he had a very good year.
Grandizer coming in the clutch, even though he's a Dolphins fan, suggesting Roy Lopez. I think that is a good shout for this award.
Jesus, he listens more than a lot to. Yeah, that is actually true. I guess he would come in the newcomer category or free agent signing of the year. I guess he would do pretty well in, but if we've got one of those, I don't know.
We
But
do.
he's absolutely picking up the vibes. Mind you saying that, isn't Roy a former Dolphins player? Is that why you know him? Did we get him from the Dolphins?
I don't recall.
Or was it the
McSperiment.
Cardinals? Oh, might have got him from Cardinals.
We got him from the Cardinals, but he could have played there. I'm not sure. Jared Goff has just been nominated, so he's going in the list.
Yeah. I mean, Jared with a bad offensive line, missing his tight end one. The run game's not been as effective as usual. He's been under a lot of pressure this year, and he's still thrown the best stats of his career, I think, pretty much. Yeah, he should be in there for sure.
All right, let's move on to some of the other awards, and we're going to start with Game of the Year. And we went 9-8. It was a tough season. Are there any games that stand out to you as your favorite games? I think you've already said the Bears game. That's going to rank, I think, very highly for a lot of people.
Yeah, the Bears evisceration was a good one. Um, what was other good in terms of quality? I know we lost, but the Rams game was a barnstormer. I don't think it should be just for wins. I think in terms of overall quality, that was just two offenses that went absolutely nuts on one another. But in terms of the quality of the game, I think the Rams game was a very good one.
In terms of quality
Um,
of game, it was absolutely fantastic.
yeah, so I think the Rams game should probably go in there, despite
Um,
the fact we lost.
it was an enjoyable game as far as losses can be. There's
Mm.
no doubt. Uh,
I think the Ravens Lions game should go in there.
I've nominated that one as my one.
Yeah. Um, Obviously the Bears one should go in for sure.
Yeah.
Who else? What one?
Someone's nominated the Commanders game that we kind of just spoke about as well. So Commanders
I think that was
44-22 victory.
revenge. Yeah, I feel like that's enough. There's not many others where, in fact, I'd always put the Cowboys winning because beating the Cowboys is just fun. Everybody hates the Cowboys, and you know, again, they were so arrogant coming into that game and we wiped the floor with them.
It is amazing how many points we've scored this season. Just looking through all these
I,
games, we scored 44 twice. We
mm,
scored 52 once. But
yep.
44 against the Commanders and the Cowboys. Mm.
Unfortunately, we had some low ones. We had some tens, some nines. Yeah, we had some bad ones as well. A 13.
All right, let's move it on to the next one, which I think is going to be really, really hard to try and work out, which is going to be Play of the Year. Play of the Year, your favourite Lions execution of the year, I guess. My own nomination, just to kick things off, while anyone might think about theirs in the chat or yourself, and I have in the game one, the loss against the Packers, where we were completely blown away, Tesla's circus catch, which made me stand up and go, holy shit, we traded the absolute farm for this kid in the third round. Maybe we actually have something.
Mm-hmm. Just trying to think. Play of the year. It's hard to just think back to, you get put on the spot and you're like, oh God, I can't remember.
Yeah, let me go to Poole and Ash. So, Play of the Year, Ash has Kirby's interception versus Chicago, which he also nominated for the fans' moment of the year with a celebration. Paul Air Walker has Tesla touchdown week 1, which is exactly what I had.
Ooh. Ooh.
We are, of course, going to, like you say, open this up to X as well, so potentially difficult in this one. I mean, I do think that the Gibbs touchdown and overtime against the Giants could potentially
I mean,
merit
that would
inclusion.
have to go in there because of its significance and the way that we drew it back. I want to put something of JMO's in there. I feel like JMO has a highlight reel one this year.
Oh, we're going to get to JMO, but I've got a lot to say about Jameson Williams.
I think there was the JMO one against the Rams, I think it was, where he went. Hang on, I'm just trying to think. Where were we?
Contrapastan says Jack Campbell's strip sack on Lamar Jackson.
That was big. But I want to say the play before that was quite big as well. Was it Lopez, I think, with the goal line stop of Derrick Henry? Was it Lopez? There were two plays in a row. Obviously, Campbell's was big, but it was the one before that when it was a tackle for a loss, which pushed them back just enough. Somebody got a really good hit on Derrick Henry when I thought they were going to run it in from a yard. I want to say it was Lopez, but I would have to go back and look at it. But yeah, Campbell's strip sack of Lamar was absolutely huge. Yeah, that should go in.
Experiment's just trying to say, isn't there one where Amon-Ra St. Brown threw a touchdown? Unfortunately, I think that's the one to
That
go.
would have been that would have been the play of the season.
If it hadn't been called back by the refs.
No, there was the two. There was the Goff. There was the one where Goff lined up as a receiver, that was thrown to. But it was, oh God, I can't remember. It got done for an illegal motion or something like that. Do you remember the one where he trucked it over? It was
Yeah. No, that's what I was saying. So,
I thought you were saying about the one in the last game.
No. So they were saying Goff went under center, and therefore he then couldn't shift.
So
yeah, when he then shifted onto the line, that was illegal motion because he declared himself the quarterback.
Yeah. But then there was the Amon-Ra one, the lateral to Goff. That one, remember that at the end of the season, the touchdown we thought that wasn't.
Yeah,
that would have been another play of the year one as well.
It would have been right up there.
We didn't do too much trickeration of that this year, did we?
We really didn't dip in the bag.
I think we ran one fake punt, which was the worst fake punt I've ever seen in my life, and just got blown up way behind the line.
It was awful.
Yeah, it was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. Uh, no, I think that's it for now. I'm
All
gonna
right,
have to.
that's fine. I mean, the thing is, we're going to get a lot more nominations as we put this out on social media, but it's just nice to think about the season in a more positive light. The
Yeah.
next award that we're going to get to is a Walter Payton style Man of the Year award. This is someone who is a terrific human being on and off the field. And I want to steal your thunder, but I'm not going to. Who do you think is going to be the Man of the Year when it's all said and done?
Um. Oh, on and off the field, who's been great? Obviously, JMO's going to be in this.
This is my nomination.
JMO's the man of the
JMO,
people.
he's a man of the people. He consistently gets put up for community awards for the terrific work he does in the community. Add to that, if it's an on and off the field award, it's his second straight 1,000-yard season. He actually improved his numbers on last season. People who want to label him a bust came into this season thinking, maybe the Lions should trade him away while they still can get a haul and you don't have to pay him yet. Instead, he's doubled down on being a terrific player, and maybe he's still a little bit immature with the celebrations. But man, the guy in the local community and on the field gives absolutely everything. And can he get a bit carried away? Sure. Would we want someone emotionally stunted? Probably not.
No, people just want these boring goody two shoes types, and like you've got to have some aggression, some edge to your team. You can't just have all these gritty, hard-working players. You've got to have gritty players who've got a bit of flair and charisma to them. To be honest, I think it's just open and shut. I don't think there's anyone who would challenge JMO for this, even like remotely. I like, you know, he just goes so far and above and beyond for everybody. Like Frank used to be a great guy for it.
Mm.
Like Frank always used to be up for these sort of things. I would even put our actual recipient for Walter Payton Man of the Year. Was it Reader? Like, no way. Was it Reader we highlighted this year? Like, I wouldn't even put him up for this. Pretty sure it was Reader.
I think it was Reader too.
Like, I wouldn't put him up for this.
I think Goff probably deserves inclusion here just because he does do a
Oh, see,
of a
Goff
lot.
does. Goff does. Yeah, that's actually a good point. Goff does.
But I think there are very few nominees here,
I
not
want
because there are Lions players who aren't good off the field, because so many of them are, but I do think that Jameson stands above.
JMO's just got a smile that makes you want to love life. They need more people like him in the world. Like his joy is infectious. Like he loves playing this game so much, and I truly believe he loves the team so much. Like he is the most. There is no even Amon Ra is not as selfless as JMO is, and that says something. Like JMO can do things like the blocking downfield, the sheer speed he has that even Amon Ra can't do. So you know what? I'd actually put Jameer in as well. I think Jameer can be a bit of an insta diva sometimes, but I do think Jameer's heart's in the right place as well, and he does also a lot outside of this. And I think he's got a great personality on it. I would put Jameer Gibbs up for this.
Both Ash and Paul Walker nominated Jameson Williams in this category, so I feel
Yeah, I
pretty
think
good about that.
this
But
is
I
this is
have put Jameer in there as well. Right. Here's going to be an interesting one because it is going to split opinion massively. One of the coaches I listed as potentially fearing for his job has been nominated by the two people in our Discord channel in Sean Dion Hamilton, which obviously is looking at Jack Campbell and looking at what he's done and valuing that very highly, which I think is fair. So Sean Dion Hamilton is absolutely going to go in because he already had two nominations there. Our linebackers coach, for those who don't know, that was assistant linebackers coach underneath our current defensive coordinator when he was linebackers coach, got promoted after he was promoted. Paul Walker also nominates Scotty Montgomery, which I think is an interesting choice. Made the move from running backs to wide receivers, and the wide receivers did well. Jameson Williams did well. I think Amon Ra had a really good year considering how badly he was hurt and had to play through it. We got frustrated at Amon Ra through the season because of some of the drops, but when he had a look at the hand and what he was having to play with, I still think he was remarkable. Obviously, Tesla had his moments. Raymond also had his moments. I think that the room had a good year, actually. I wanted to nominate Mark Brunell. because I think people are going to look at what Goff did and maybe say he had a down year by his standards. But if you have a look at the pressure he was under, I think most quarterbacks would have folded under that sort of pressure. Instead, facing almost the most pressure in the league, he was one of the best quarterbacks under pressure in the league. I thought he operated the offense in a way that actually led us to a winning season in spite of everything around him. And I think that goes to huge credit for Mark Brunell in terms of preparing Goff for the season.
Mm.
Anyone that you would like to list here?
There is, and like, bear with me here because Coach of the Year obviously can mean a lot of different things. But if you're talking about the development of players and their ability to play above and potentially beyond what they've done in hard circumstances, I would actually nominate Deshae Townsend for this. People are going to go, what? The DB's coach? The DBs have been shite here for years. But you think he's had both his starting safeties missing for a good proportion of time. He's had both his starting corners missing for a proportion of time. What he's done with Thomas Harper has been nothing short of sensational.
Not
Like
just
Thomas
Thomas
Harper has
Hunt.
been playing. I'm getting to it, but you've got to give me time to list it out, man. Like Thomas Harper has been playing like 70 snaps a game in some cases, and has been playing really well. Got his first interception. He's looked really damn good in that room. And then you look at the corners. Rock Ya-Sin has been maybe our most consistent corner this year. I know he's a vet, but it's probably one of the best years, even if PFF doesn't say so. It's one of his best years in some time, and we've really needed him to step up there. Avonte Maddox, again, experienced, but he has looked good in the system, forced into a role he wasn't necessarily going to have when he was here. Terry on, when he was healthy, looked a damn sight better than he's looked. He was playing his best football this year, in my opinion, before he went down hurt, and he's had to deal with it. So, in terms of developing the youngsters and, developing, and having to work with a completely battered room, the Legion of Whom was a thing for a little while, and it resurged towards the end of the year. But like Harper's a nobody, or was a nobody, and he looks like he's been playing football for 5 years. You know, you having to use Rock, you having to use Maddox, you having to use all sorts of guys out there. And I think he's done a tremendous job with them with what's been at his disposal. So I do think he should get a shout for it.
I think you make an excellent case. I think given how much upheaval they've had in that room, it could have been the ending of us. And it ended up not being the reason why we didn't make it. And that's a huge credit to him when we lost. I mean, Kirby and Branch, arguably two of our best 5 players on the team.
Yeah.
That's hard to lose that and still look passable. Between, as you say, Thomas Harper and Daniel Thomas, I thought they were terrific.
Yeah. And you've not had Rakestraw all year either. I know Meeks looked rough, but Meeks kind of been forced into a position that he shouldn't be. And even in himself, Meeks had glimpses and he's fought his ass off this year, even though he got burned towards the end of it. I think we've just got very comfortable slagging off our DB's coaches, and rightly so over the years. It's just been a consistent weakness on this team, but, I've not seen a DB's coach get this much out of his backups ever, really. So he's done something right. So, give him some support this year. Hopefully he's got more of a healthy room next year, and maybe we're talking about him future DC or something in future years. Who knows? But yeah, you've got to put it into context. It's not just always about the best room, it's about who's done the best with what they've been given.
Yeah.
He's not got 2,000-yard receivers like the wide receiver coach has, or etc.
We do have a nomination, considering your argument about special teams and its development in the year, for Dave Phipp. And I think that is going to surprise a lot of people. I think the people who won't think about it and just remember the start of the season will throw their toys out the pram. I think it's a reasonable shout, considering the development of the room. I do think it turned into strength down the stretch.
Yeah, possibly, but then I'd sort of reverse argument and say, like, Kelvin. Kelvin had a wonderful first half of the year, then a shite second half, but, like, it was good for a while, but I know sort of starting bad and getting good is the more preferred method, but I don't know. I just feel like the consistency over the year, like, special teams cost us a lot at the start of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were really struggling, and it cost us a lot. I don't, and again, considering the high level nature of the plays over the years that he's had, this has been a down year for him. But if you want to go through the improvement, right, I could back it, but like I think we've got enough others who deserve it more that we don't need him in. But if we want to flesh the field out, maybe.
Next award up is the Grit Award. Because this is new and proposed by someone in the chat, I don't have anyone pre-listed as the Grit Award nominee. So you said you had someone who you think is going to win it for sure. Who do you have in mind?
Tate, Tate Ratledge, pure and simple. The dude has been dealing with so much this year. He's had a neck injury. He has been really beaten about. I can't remember what game it was. I think it was the Eagles game where like it was his welcome to the NFL game the Eagles won, and you could see he was hurt, he was struggling, and yet he didn't ever give up once. And the week after, when he played again, he had one of his best games of the year. He showed that he could adapt to it, but the man's been playing through serious pain as a rookie. And of how many times have we said his name in a negative way this year? It was that Eagles game. And like he's not going to be there are seasoned veteran guards, some of the best of their profession, who have been absolutely mugged off by that Philadelphia D line. Like it's nothing to be ashamed of. But he has fought through a lot this year, and he's barely missed any time at all.
Yeah.
Like, if you want the person of a grid, that's why I loved it when we drafted him, because it's just like, yeah, I mean, whatever you're going to get out of him, he's a guy who's just going to go into the trenches and fight until, the final bomb falls as it is, and he's done that. So, for me, I don't see anybody who would take this away from him. Although in the same vein, I would nominate Penne as well, because Penne has also very clearly been hurt this year, and he's still been graded as the best offensive tackle in football. And again, with tackles, you only remember the bad plays. How many years did we see the Mac one on Decker? And like Taylor Decker's probably had 1,000 good reps in his career since that, but we always see the Mac on Decker one because people remember the bad shit. But they've both been hurt, but they've both been absolute Iron Men. It wouldn't surprise me if Ratledge is just like, well, this guy next to me never goes out hurt, so fuck it, I'm in the most pain I've ever been in my life. I can't go out hurt. Feels like they're almost challenging one another, like who's going to
Yeah.
go down first. You're literally going to have to shoot one of them to get them out of a game, and that's what it would take. They are that strong.
Yeah, Tate, Penne, and Amon Ra absolutely deserve inclusion here. Ash has just nominated Taylor Decker for it, considering he's played through not just a shoulder injury, but what he's had to do to just even get on the field this year. There's not a lot I would be proposing Taylor Decker for generally on this whole awards show, but getting on the field for him is a massive achievement. Someone in the chat has also nominated Frank Ragnow. Technically a player for us this year, technically on the roster, did not realise the severity of his own hamstring injury. In some ways, that's totally fair.
It is. No, it is legitimate. It is legitimate.
I'm not going to put him on because he didn't play a game, and I think you probably have to play a game to get
give
on
him an
but...
honorary shout. I'd be like, this is an honorary shout for our Frank.
Yeah.
But yeah, you are right. There's an honorary shout for him.
I think Decker does deserve inclusion here. I think that's fair.
It is. He has been banged up and hurt, so the fact that we got 3 offensive linemen on here because they've been severely hurt all season says something about the season in general as well.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think, is there anyone else who's... I feel like we're ignoring defense a little bit here, but I could be wrong. I mean, would we not put in Harper for this? We talk about grit and determination, and like he's been jettisoned into a starting role when people love Kirby and people love Branch.
Yeah.
And like the amount of grit and determination he's had to show to get all those snaps and all those reps, and really we've not had any serious concerns about him, which is crazy considering who he was and where he's from. No one talks about it.
Yeah.
I do feel like maybe as a non-injury related one, it takes a lot to get into this team. You don't, unless injury really strikes, you don't get into this team unless you earn it. And even with the injuries, he will have had to earn his way in because, yeah, we could have played Maddox there. We could have played Strickland. We could have played guys like this. But Harper's the one who took that opportunity and nailed it down. UDFA's getting starting spots is gritty enough as it is.
Yeah. I agree. So I think that's absolutely fair enough. Let's move on to the next potential award, which is the signing of the year. This covers trade acquisitions as well as free agent signings, whether in pre-season or through the season. And I have pre-populated a list here. One of them I don't feel great about, which is DJ Reed.
No.
He was good at the start of the season when he was healthy, got injured early, and then came back and wasn't so great. Do you even think he shouldn't even be nominated here?
No, he shouldn't be.
Okay, I'm removing him. Okay, so the four that I have then are Roy Lopez, Rock Yassin, Avonte Maddox, Thomas Harper. They're the ones that instantly came to my mind as having been remarkable in some way. I think Daniel Thomas probably feels hard done by here, to be honest, as well.
So this is free agent signings and whatnot.
Free agent signings, trade acquisitions.
Right, I'm going to say a name here, and this is going to be controversial because whether we can get into it or not, given what he's done this year, and I know technically he was on the roster for a bit last year,
but
we
count.
did re-sign him. It does.
It doesn't count.
It does.
He was on the team
It's
last
a free
year.
agent.
It doesn't count.
It's a new deal this year. We bought him back.
Who?
I put AQM on it. Given where he went, 12 and a half sacks this year. We didn't really play much last year. Technically, we bought him in as a free agent.
Maybe I should open it up to free agents.
I think he's the only one I'm going to open it up to. Like, I think this, because again, it's not like he was a massive part of this team last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was a bit part player. Like, we bought Zedarius in for that, and he didn't really do too much. But we bought him back.
Yeah.
And I mean, you don't just go from being a nothing bit part player to 12 and a half sacks in a season. Like,
yeah.
It's pretty. I feel like we should be able to bend the rules for him, given what we expected.
I've bent the rules for him because, of course, this is democracy, so we get what you want.
No, everyone who watches the show knows that it's a dictatorship, and I have to fight to get what I want. You know,
Viva la revolution. Anyway,
got to fight for the right to party.
I bet you didn't think we were going to get a Beastie Boys reference on this show. But anyway,
well, absolutely. I don't think there's anyone gone. Others. Trying to remember who else we signed.
I looked through the list. It's not a pretty list.
It's not a pretty list. that is the biggest of. Was Sailors a UDFA? Or Sailors a free agent?
It doesn't matter. Sailors was a new signing. He wasn't a UDFA, no.
Has Sailors done enough to get the special teams nod on this? Maybe a special teamsy guy? Or would we put Stewart in for that? But Stewart's been...
No, well, Stewart hasn't been great. I mean, that's his biggest problem. So
who were the four you put in initially? Sorry.
So the four I put in were Roy Lopez, Rock Yassin, Avonte Maddox, Thomas Harper.
How many snaps has Whiteside played? Should Whiteside be in there?
Very few, 50.
Was he not? Oh, right, okay. I thought you played
hang on. Sailors is only 25. Hang on, blinking.
He might be a UDFA.
Might be a UDFA. Played 2 seasons for the St. Louis Battlehawks of the UFL, so...
Oh, he's a UFL side, so that's a new signing.
Yeah, he would count anyway, I think.
Yeah.
So you want me to put him in?
I mean, I don't know. What was his overall stats for the year? I don't know if he did that much.
I don't think he was fantastic, but...
No, okay, no, let's not bother.
Jacob Sailors, how did he do?
I think it was just
Two
his
rushes
return
for 11
stuff.
yards.
I think it was just his return stuff. I was thinking maybe getting in on his
Um,
special teams bits, but
Kick and punt returns, 33 returns for 897 yards. Yards per return, 27.2. League average is 35 returns, 953 yards, so he is exactly at the league average.
oh, okay, then no,
Oh,
let's.
being league average as a UDFA is not terrible.
No, but I think we've got enough. I don't think he's
Okay.
going to win over some of these others, is he? Really?
No, I think not. Right, here is an award which is gonna make everyone stand up and shout. It's the most improved player. And it's going to get people standing up and shouting because who on earth is going to win most improved in the season that we have here? I only think there are really two people worth
AQM,
nominating.
AQM would go in here.
Okay. So he counts as a signing of the season and most improved. That's good.
Well, yeah, he's got his own little thing, but he is.
You got a strange sense of humour, my friend, but he's in.
No, I have perfectly good logic. My arguments are always logical. They're grounded in realism.
Right, so the two players I have are Jameson Williams and Jack Campbell. And Jameson Williams, because he improved on last year, where everyone was everyone, national media were expecting regression because they remember a Jameson Williams who they believe let this team down and wasn't particularly great, maybe in his first season. To get 1,100 yards and to look as good as he did in relief of Amon-Ra St. Brown, not only did he did what he did when Amon-Ra wasn't playing on this team. And I think gaining all that attention that he does, I think it was absolutely remarkable what Jameson did, especially since Goff was poorly protected, which gives him less time to throw, and JMO being a speed guy who you want to threaten over the top. I think it speaks volumes to me as to what Jameson Williams has done, but I do think the front runner should be Jack Campbell. First team All Pro for the first time in his career. One of the best linebackers in the NFL comfortably. He is starting to justify taking him where we did. And
Yeah, no,
I
you're
think
right.
very few people would have thought that was possible.
No, you're absolutely right. I think that's a good shout.
I think that's the list. I'm not sure there's anyone else. I looked through it and I thought all of these guys either are new signings, in which case there's nothing to improve on, or
I guess you can put Vaki in if you want.
no, but he was good at what he did good before. I think he's
Hmm.
improved. I think he is who he is.
Would we gain arguments if we put Terry on in here in his limited sample size?
Oh,
Terry on was very much improved
I think you
before he
could.
went out.
I think we're delaying the inevitable, but
Hmm.
yeah,
Ooh,
I'd be surprised if he got one vote.
true. Yeah, it is limited. There's not. I think that's the problem. Like a lot of fringe guys and that we've had no one really go, wow, where the hell did they come from? But
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, mile
Um,
marker wants Terry and Arnold in there, so I'll put Terry and Arnold in there.
there we go. Yeah, see me finger on the pulse. No, exactly.
You always have your finger on the pulse. That's why I listen to you. Right.
Um,
Next one up is something which is going to take a little bit of thought. It's the Unsung Hero Award. I have 3 people that I would like to nominate for this award, and they are 3 people we have mentioned very recently in Daniel Thomas, Thomas Harper, and Tate Ratledge. I think all of them have not got the plaudits they deserve this season, and they have been given plaudits, but nowhere damn near enough. Paul Air Walker has nominated Roy Lopez, which I think is fair, although I do think he gets his share of plaudits for what he's done this year, but he's still
I think
somewhat under the radar. What about you, Ash? Sorry. My God.
I guess on our pod, Lopez gets a lot of love, but a lot of people on our pod get love that no one else does because we're just weird. So, um,
Weird, British,
unsung
same thing.
heroes. Um, Okay, I feel like I might have to try and just. Jared Goff. And I'm going to say that because, and Goff has not got the love this year he should have, given the circumstances he's had at his disposal. Everyone says he needs a team built round him. He's useless against pressure. He's this, that, and the other. And with a completely banged up offensive line, without his favorite tight end, without the, you know, dynamicism and the high powered machine around him, the machine has been faltering this year. It's fallen on him to lead this offense. There are a lot of times the run game has failed, and it's all been on Jared's shoulders. And I feel like it's not been appreciated anywhere near enough what he's done. If he was Josh Allen in this situation, everyone would go, "Oh, Josh Allen has saved their season, yada yada yada." But because Goff's done it, no one's talking about it. They just think, "Well, okay, it is what it is." But I don't think Goff's had half the credit he should have this year, which I think plays into this category.
I would agree with you, and the chat celebrates that too. Also had a nomination for Nick Whiteside, and I'm here for him in this category. I don't know why, I just am. As one of his bigger supporters on this on in the Lions fandom. I do think that he has got something that I'd like to see develop. Right, let's move.
Hang on, one more maybe for a tokens thing
Oh,
because we can't can get. I'm not gonna say I've already done the Hogan Hatton joke. You only get one per episode, and you've had it, so you don't have to worry about any more long snapper jokes in this episode.
I don't. I welcome them. Carry on,
Kennedy,
Mr. Kennedy.
not the wrestler, Mr. Kennedy, but Tom, that big white tight end who we couldn't stop running at us or whatever he was referred to
They
as.
called
But
him White End. Nice.
what was it? What was it? Wherever he had that big game and the coach went that big white tight end or whoever that kept running at us and we couldn't tackle him. But like the we can't get rid of him, and he actually did contribute something meaningful this year. So
He did on
I feel
offense
like
as well. He
that's what I mean.
legitimately was a bit
That's
of a
what I
weapon
mean.
on offense.
So just because he's basically an icon at this point, like Skipper.
I can't believe he isn't starting for the New York Jets.
Ooh, Tom Kennedy.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
How did Aaron Glenn not see what Tom Kennedy did every preseason and probably what he's done in every single practice and think that guy is better than what I have right now?
Yeah.
Like
And
legitimately, when Tom Kennedy
what did he need? Like 350 yards to be their leading receiver?
yeah, whenever Tom Kennedy actually plays on offense and gets a little bit of volume, he actually does perform.
Yeah. Just you want your quarterback to have a comfort blanket. He's your comfort blanket.
Yeah,
I mean,
cuddly teddy bear.
I mean, put it this way, this is funny. Sam Laporta would have been the leading receiver on the Jets this year.
Comfortably.
Yeah. Khalif Raymond would have been near the top, and we barely featured him this year. At all. That last game, stat padded him. It's so crazy.
I don't know. Raymond's had a few good games this season when we needed him to. Right, next award. Can't have any more nominations, I don't think. But we're going to tell you what they are anyway. It's Rookie of the Year. And we have Tyreek Williams, Tate Ratledge, Isaac Teslar. I don't think Frazier has played enough.
Isn't Harper a UDFA from this year?
No, he played for the Raiders, didn't he?
Did he? I would check that.
Played for the Raiders last year.
Oh, okay. In that case, no.
Daniel Thomas?
No, he's not really.
No, he's 27.
Yeah. He's not a 10-year college player. Not one of them sneaky 10-year college players.
Yeah. I just think in terms of either reps or impact, Williams, Ratledge, and Tesla deserve inclusion, but those are the only guys that really played, I think.
Yeah, the rookies didn't really contribute a whole lot this year.
No, I think Williams had his best game of the season in week 18, and that bodes well.
It does.
Ratledge had one bad game, but otherwise was absolutely terrific. And then Tazlar's impact cannot be overstated. He was
No, you're right. But there's not many. There's not. I'm with you. I'm not adding many more people to this list.
okay. Next up, we're into the big three. We start off with Defensive Player of the Year. I'm not sure how many candidates you can have here. So,
I would just put it between Campbell and Hutch. I think that would be it.
I had Campbell, Hutch, and Alcadine.
Oh yeah, Alcadine.
If anyone in the chat has any advancement on Hutchinson, Campbell, and Alcadine Mohammed, you are welcome to do so now.
Again, would we put Thomas Harper in this as a fourth man? Like, he's been good this year. Again, you've got to just take the whole. Yeah, you've got to take that into consideration.
Okay.
Or hell, would we put? What about Rock?
So I think
has Rock done enough?
I don't.
Like, obviously,
I don't think he has compared to Harper. I think Harper deserves inclusion.
I would put Harper in this as well.
Cool.
Yeah, it feels like putting him in a lot, but we can't understate just how big he's been for us this year.
Yeah, I agree.
We're going to need some love somewhere.
I don't have any other chat mentions, so we're going to move on to the other side of the ball to Offensive Player of the Year. This one, more straightforward in terms of names perhaps, but less straightforward in terms of working out who the hell it's going to be.
Sorry, what were we on about?
Offensive Player of the Year.
Offensive Player of the Year. I mean, there are a lot of players we could put in for this. We have 2 All-Pros on offense. You know, Penny has been an All-Pro, one of the best tackles in football, and he's barely missed a beat for. So I will put Penny in, I will put Amon-Ra in, I will put J-Mo in, I will put Jameer in, and I'd put Goff in.
So I only hadn't put J-Mo in, and I don't really know why I didn't put J-Mo in. All the others I had in, that was my list.
I think they would be the 5.
Cool.
And before some smart ass goes Ferkser or something for his one good game, no, we're not doing that.
So Ferkser was someone I considered for signing of the season.
I thought Dwelly did better in his limited things.
And it's okay to be wrong. Anyway.
Well, when I know what that feels like, I'll tell you. I don't have much experience with that.
All right, moving on.
In fact, offensive play on that as well. He is a rookie, and he has had a really damn good year. Depending on how people... You've got to wonder how people think. People judge these things differently. Some people go for the big Ferrari. Some people go for the engine that drives it. And, you know, I do feel like Ratledge should get a mention on it.
Little Tate Ratledge stat for you. He played the most snaps on offense this year.
And he's been hurt, and he's been a rookie. So I do think Tate should go into the conversation for offensive MVP. He might not win, but I think he will garner some votes.
I've put him in the list just to make you happy.
All right, Chris Jericho.
You made the list.
You just made the list.
Final award is Most Valuable Player, and I guess this is just really condensing down the offensive and defensive player of the years. Unless you want to put anyone in for special teams, which I don't.
I've made my special teams, Joe. When are you going to believe me?
I thought you wanted to put in Jake Bates just to annoy other people.
No.
Jack Fox?
No.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, you putting in the long snapper joke after Ash made the joke meant that you were doing a very good Ashley Solomon impression.
I didn't know Ash had made the joke. You know.
There we go.
Sometimes Ash can be funny like me, so, you know, occasionally.
So MVP, I had Sewell, Goff, Hutch, Amon-Ra, and J-Mo. Missing off the list from offensive and defensive players of the year, Al-Qadim Mohammed, Thomas Harper, Jameson Williams, Tate Ratledge. I don't know whether any of that's particularly unfair. I don't know if any of those you want to add in or if you take anyone out that I've put in the list.
There's one I'd add. Marcus Davenport.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah.
I'm not gonna get a chance to make these jokes much longer, so I'm gonna get them in while I can.
You say that. Watch us re-sign him. Watch us.
Why? Why would you do that? You take great pleasure in hurting me, don't you?
Yes.
You love it, and I can see he smiles just before he says it. Like, here's the dagger. I'm about to plunge this mofo, and I'm gonna laugh and enjoy it.
There's
Just
some,
get that in there.
but there's something about
Even
saying.
you'd be pissed off if we re-signed him. Even
I,
you, in that cold, dead heart of yours, would feel feelings about that.
I would be slightly annoyed, but I would have my heart warmed by the fact that I know you'd be going out of your freaking mind.
See, that's what he knows if it causes me pain. No, Matt's ideal off-season, re-sign Marcus Davenport, let's get Will Harris back, and then, like, Anthony will just lose whatever sanity he's got left and,
Well,
you know, go
okay,
mental.
fine, but let's not forget Josh Pascal getting re-signed as well.
This isn't funny. And the entirety of the chat will agree with me here that we want none of these guys back.
Oh.
So we should do that just as a joke at the end. Who are we most looking forward to leave?
Oh no, no! I am not getting on this because I do not want to
I
put
do.
on a
I
social
do.
media that we
No,
are.
we wouldn't do that.
Goodbye, DJ Reader. We haven't missed you. Like, no, it's not. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I refuse.
There is one more award I want to do when all this is said and done. By the way, so
Right. Okay. This is your time.
Have we done the MVP? What was the MVP list?
Sewell, Goff, Hutch, St Brown, Gibbs.
Yeah, okay, I think I can buy that. I think.
I feel a bit bad for JMO,
Yeah.
but I just feel like the others have a bit more of a shout.
Only stupid people like me would vote for JMO. I would vote for JMO, but I'm just a JMO stan, and I'm not sorry.
Lots of people saying Goff in the chat, which backs up my thought on that. I think Goff's actually
one more award this year.
No,
and I think we need to really.
No.
I'm not doing. Will you ever believe me? I'm not going to go best long snapper of the year. I'm not doing it. Right. This is one that everyone's going to enjoy or hate, and we can do this as a fun little way to end this segment. Right. Biggest booked up refereeing call against us this season.
Wow.
Is that not a fantastic? Thank you. Just say thank you, Anthony. Your genius is amazing. This has given us some right good content here.
I hate.
And I want you to put that in. I want you to put it in Discord now. Put it in Discord. Biggest refereeing screw job on the Lions this season. And the chat, I want you all in on this as well. What is the one reffing call that really, really wound you up this season? Because why not? If they want to be our enemy, we're going to publicize them. And I think that we should be able to.
I think we should be able to too.
So
I need to just disappear for 2 seconds, by the way. I'll be back.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Say hi to Sarah. Yeah, but no, seriously about this. Like, this has been a year of, and not just for the Lions, because I'm not going to speak for the Lions, but the refereeing in the NFL this year has been incredibly poor. And I think we need to pour some scorn on this because, you know, whatever, the season's done, but there have been some truly horrendous calls against us this year. I'm thinking the timeout by Matt LaFleur that wasn't a timeout by Matt LaFleur, which in the Packers game, which was a big one. Goff, his touchdown because he was under center and then can't not be under center. We've got some truly inexplicable calls from the refs this year. This list might be the biggest list that we create today out of any of these categories that we're with, but I'm interested to see what people think about this one. Yeah, JG's supposedly under center. Brent, the Goff touchdown in Kansas, which was that the under center one as well? I think there's that, but yeah, the LaFleur call was an absolutely rough one, which just should not have called at all. What else was there? Just trying to think. There's a noticeable DPI calls against Terrion, which should be included on this as well. I need to go back and just have a little look. There's officiating calls. in 2025, because there's been a laundry list of these. I'm surprised. The offensive pass interference against, so we had the two, and it was the first one, the one that was on Tesla, I believe, against the Steelers, was an absolutely atrocious. The second one was correct, but I think it was the one where Tesla got shoved into a Steelers player on the Amon-Ra touchdown, and that got chalked off. That was one of the worst calls I've ever seen in my life, even though, Dan would never admit it, but that was terrible. What was the other trick play that we had that got done for the the illegal motion against Kansas City? Where were we? The Rams we got done by. What was the Rams one? It was the hang on, where were we? The Parkinson one, the Parkinson touchdown for LA when he was clearly a yard short was absolutely terrible. You had time to think about it.
I have, but I haven't got anything
There was
which comes to mind.
there was the Tesla OPI against Steelers, which shouldn't have been. There was Matt LaFleur's timeout, which shouldn't have been. There's been some truly awful calls against us this year. What was the one that they couldn't explain either? There was one that they gave us an explanation. Oh, I think it might have been
Travis Kelce non-catch.
Oh yeah, the Kelsey non-catch. That was atrocious. And they didn't even review it, did they? They weren't even a quick review or an expedited review or whatever they call them.
Can't think what else there was.
I feel like there were several ones in that Rams game. What else was there? There was another one in the Rams game as well. I've lost them all now out of my head.
Was in the Rams one? Was there one where Campbell tried to challenge in a position where he couldn't because they got the spot really badly wrong, but because it wasn't near a first down thing?
Oh yeah,
that wasn't really a bad refereeing call. It's just a shit rule.
Yeah, that was terrible. Yeah, there were some really, really bad ones this year.
I can't think of anything else.
I've probably just sent a lot of them to the back of my mind because it was so bad. Oh, there was the one, the Amon-Ra shovel against the Steelers. That last play that they called a touchdown but wasn't a touchdown. The explanation for it. Do you remember the very last play of the game where Amon-Ra did the little handoff to Goff and they said it was a touchdown but it wasn't a touchdown and it was never explained to us why. They said it was lack of forward momentum, but then they never said it was that. And
no. They called it a touchdown. But because there was offensive pass interference, it wiped it out, and the game isn't extended on an offensive penalty.
Oh. But I thought it was a tough call.
So, in terms of botched referee call or decision, that was botched because they announced it as a touchdown when they really should have just said offensive pass interference, and that would have been it. We would have just been like, okay, fine. But because of the fact they went touchdown, but pass interference, it's like, fuck you. All manners of fuck you.
Yeah.
Cool. I don't have anything else in the chat there, so.
The Rams dropped touchdown. Oh yeah, was there a dropped touchdown in the Rams? Tesla call was bad.
Rams. Who scored the touchdowns in the Rams game?
The clock timing call that caught MCDC off guard. Was that the one with the? Was that the one we mentioned where he couldn't challenge it because of where it was spotted or whatever?
Which one was that? Sorry.
Someone just said. Hang on, what was it? The one where clock. The one. It was my mark. He said there was that clock timing call that caught MCDC off guard.
I don't recall it.
Timing call? Can't remember. The LaFleur one was bad. That was awful.
Yeah, that was very bad.
We literally saw it on camera that he didn't get his call off on time and it was still not given.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Tesla OPI was
Ash
terrible.
says the timeout on Thanksgiving. Poole says the Rams touchdown or the Phantom Eguacan false start.
Yes, the Aguacan false start. That absolutely needs to go in there.
Which game was that?
It was against the Steelers, no? I think it was against the Steelers.
Poole suggests Vikings, but I think it might be Steelers. I'm not 100%.
Or was it Vikings?
I can't recall. I'm not sure, but he didn't flinch.
No, he didn't. He literally didn't move, and it might have been the Vikings one. Come to think of it, but yeah, Aguacon's non-false snap. And that was bad because I think that put us behind the chains, and we had to punt after that.
Yeah,
just these little calls and bits like that. They're just not given.
I'll tell you what, I was wrong. This is a good nomination for an award.
I know it is, right?
I'm here for it.
I know it makes us mad, but at the same point, I must have that many tweets out there going, what the actual this season? Like, my swear count on Twitter has gone through the roof this year. And not necessarily, I don't like to, but sometimes the refs just do things that really annoy me. The fact that when you type in Detroit Lions officiating calls on Google and there are pages and pages and pages worth of stuff, kind of just says, because after that Chiefs game, their crew got suspended, didn't they? Like, that was how bad that was.
Yeah. I think that's it for me. We could probably have more, but I think we've gone through enough.
We've had enough heartbreak this year.
We have. Right. That's going to bring this show to a close. And is there anything else you want to bring up while we're here?
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
No.
Cool. Right. That's going to do it for our show. Next show's College Football Podcast will be returning. Obviously, the playoffs in full swing with the National Championship coming up in about a week's time. The main podcast will be back probably this time next week, although I will move it depending on the availability of the team, for the annual Roar of the Lions Detroit Lions Award show. We have put out the nominations here. Do look out for Twitter if you want to make any additional nominations. We will put out a call for help on there. Find us on our socials, Roar of the Lions UK, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and the group for worldwide fans on Facebook is Detroit Lions Fans UK, One Pride Worldwide. The website, rotluk.com. This is our time. The off-season is where this show really thrives. So I hope that you listen to us as regularly as possible. We're going to have some great shows coming up. We're going to deep dive into the whole draft class. We're going to have the best draft show in the business. We're going to have the most guests. We're going to have the most in-depth. It's going to be all the way through all 3 days as we normally do with 24 hours of live streamed content. So please help us. We'd love to have you there listening, watching, and we're going to be making a call out there to improve our content too. So if you've got any thoughts, we'd love to hear from you. Just remains for me to thank Ant for doing this for me, and to all of you for listening. We'll see you next week. Let's go, Lions. One Pride.
One Pride.
Recording stopped.